Yes, welcome class Geography grade 11. We are meeting on paper 2 revision. This is the last session of our year. Let's connect and get it done right now. And without wasting any time, we just want to go straight to our paper such that we can be able to just finish it on time. So you always know it is very important that you always have to ensure that instructions are read first. This is a paper 2 examination revision that we are going through, 150 marks, 3 hours. And then I'm always reminding you that you should always read instructions before starting any exam. So without wasting any time, let's just go straight to our paper and see what is there. So section A is saying development and resources and sustainability. Question 1.1, we are given a map here. Refer to the map showing the north-south divide. Complete the statements in column A with the options in column B. Write only X or Z next to the question numbers. This is a nice question that we have already answered severally during the course of the term through our channel videos. For some of you who are following Metric Hub, we have talked about the branded line that is used to divide the north and the south, the most economically developed countries versus the least economical or the less economically developed countries. So here that is what is given by this map or illustrated by the map here. So let's just go straight to the questions and answer the questions that are coming or that are following. The first question is saying developing countries based on economic and social criteria. Developing countries, when they are classified based on economic and social criteria, what we call them, we are saying they are south of the branded line. We are saying if you look on this line here, if we look on this line, we say this refers to most economically developed countries. Is most economically developed countries which are found on the north. These are on the north, and then we have got the less economically developed countries, less economically developed countries, which are found also. These are also found on the south. So what we are saying is that the question is saying developing countries based on economic and social criteria. Countries are classified according to their level of achievements based on some social and economic indicators. So that we call that is that where we come up with the branded line. So what we are saying is that these countries are south of the branded line, which you can see here. Like I said, this is the south, and above the line is what is the north. So they are south of the branded line. These are south of the branded line. So making our answer to be what? To be X. And then Brazil, India, and South Africa are considered. If we look at Brazil, if we consider Brazil, India, and South Africa, how are they classified with regards to this classification of development? So these countries are divided or are classified as newly industrializing countries. They are newly industrializing. Remember, we were saying this classification enables countries to be categorized based on the level of achievement. So the idea is that, or the point indicated here is that Brazil, India, South Africa are newly industrializing. They are actually becoming better developed. So they also fall as what? As the answer is X, newly industrializing countries. They are making it, they are achieving a certain level of development, making them to be classified as what as they are becoming they are newly industrialized. Their level of production and work achievements, socially and economically rated, makes them to be newly industrializing countries. The employment structure in most economically developed countries, if you look at the employment structure in most economically developed countries, this is just an analysis of labor appropriation based on the economic sectors. So we have got the primary sector, which is indicated by the light gray, and then we have got the secondary sector, which is black, and then the tertiary sector, which is uh, this gray. So what we are saying is we need to understand that the level of development or the level of employment which we tend to find uh, in most economically developed countries, it is characterized by what? Do we have what is the idea there in terms of uh, uh, economic sectors contributions and allocation of labor within the countries. So now you find out that in most economically developed countries, we have got the tertiary sector dominating in this sector or in these countries. In these countries, they are dominated by tertiary sector. Tertiary sector is dominant. We have got tertiary sector. Uh, tertiary sector must be the biggest. It must be the biggest employer. Most of the people are employed are employed in the what in the tertiary sector, and then it is also followed by secondary. It is followed by secondary. Second second largest economic sector is what? Second is secondary, and then we have got the third or the last. It is the primary sector. At the primary sector, it tends to have the lowest number of people from where we have got people working and so forth. So what you need to understand is that the tertiary sector is the first, which is the largest, and then we have got the secondary sector, the second, and then we have got the primary sector forming the last portion. It has got the smallest fraction. It has the smallest number of people, smallest number of people. It has the smallest number of workers. What happens is that these are most economically developed countries. They rely on raw materials that are imported from least or from less economically developed countries. So they are into manufacturing, they are into services sector. The most economically developed countries focuses on what? On services. They are mostly on services sector, which is the tertiary sector. So now our answer makes it correct that they are found in a proportion of what? Of Z. We are finding them in the proportion of what? Of Z. Z can be the right answer through which we can find this. We are saying Z is the correct answer in terms of this. We have got the tertiary sector, secondary sector, and the lowest from the primary sector, which is an opposite of what? Which is an opposite. This indicates a less economically developed countries. We have got such a representation in less economically developed countries, which is actually saying that most of the workers are found in the primary sector because of we are primary sector dependent. And then the population pyramid typical of a less economically developed country, the population pyramid typical of a less economically developed country. This is also shown by uh, a high birth rate. We have got high birth rate and low life expectancy. A less economically developed country, it has got a broad base. It has a broad base, and then we also have it having low life expectancy. low life expectancy. The issue of low life expectancy, when it comes to low life expectancy, it causes the pyramid to have what? To have a very sharp decline in numbers of people who are aging uh, and then resulting in a pyramid that we can identify as saying it is the one as what? As Z. Z can identify a less economically developed country because we are saying we have got low life expectancy, uh, low life low life expectancy that we see here, and then we have got high birth rate. We have got high birth rate that is indicated by the broad high birth rate. However, we are saying because of several factors that are involved affecting survival, mortality rate, infant mortality rate is also high, which we can find out that this can be the typical of a less economically developed country, meaning to say that Z can be the right answer there. This is a most economically developed country. This will indicate most economically developed country. Therefore, we can see that the right answer is Z. The proportion of people living in urban areas in most economically developed country. So what happens then again is that when we look at the number of people living in urban areas in most economically developed countries, it means that the number of people is too high. We have got most of the people living in urban areas than in rural areas. The countries are economically developed, hence to say that they can achieve to build people proper houses and proper infrastructure. So urbanization is very high in what? In most economically developed countries. So we tend to have low population or low numbers of people living in rural areas, which can result in us having Z as the right answer, as to say Z defines the right answer because we are saying high population is in urban areas. Most of the people are found in urban areas, and then we have got less number of people in rural areas. High number of people, high population, high population in what? In urban areas. In urban areas than they are in rural areas have got less number of people. So therefore our answer is what? Is Z, which you can see by the proportionate number of this shaded part or the shape that are given here. A factor that would contribute positively to a country's high development index. Health development index. Health development index is measured or can contribute positively, can be contributed positively by we are talking about the issues to do with health development index. It identifies increase in health facilities that will result in less number of people dying and also making people to live good living standards and so forth. So now, number 6, we can say that a factor that would contribute positively to a country's health development index, high literacy rates, decreased life expectancy. So high literacy rate is ability to read or write. So we are saying that when a country has got more people who are able to read and write, it indicates that the HDI is positively marked. So decreased life expectancy, it means people are dying young, hence it cannot be a positive indicator. A positive indicator should be something that is contributing in a positive way. So X is the right answer on number 6. And then a country that has a Gini coefficient score close to 1 we're saying that this also has been explained in terms of uh, uh, economic indicators. So a country that has got a Gini coefficient score close to 1, it can be marked as what? As income inequality. There is greater chance of income inequality to say that then the gap between the ones who has and the one who don't have is high. So it is shown by Gini coefficient close to 1, which is Z. Z can be is the right answer when it comes to what? When it comes to number 7. And then a economic indicator that measures the overall economic performance of a country. An economic indicator that measures the overall economic performance of a country that can be measured through what? Gross domestic product. Gross domestic product, we are talking about the total production a country has managed to produce within its borders over a period of a year. It calls GDP. So GDP, I guess most of us we have seen and we have explained this to say that GDP is the right answer. GDP is the right answer, which is an economic indicator that can measure the overall economic performance of a country. Gross domestic product, total production over a period of a year that a country has managed to produce. And then various options are provided as possible answers to the following question. Choose the answer and write only the letter next to the question numbers. Country X has a negative balance of trade, and then country X is negative. Country X is negative balance of trade because is negative balance of trade because dash. So negative balance of trade, it is caused. What factors contribute to negative balance of trade? Its exports are greater than imports. When exports are greater than imports, it means it is what? It is positive because we are earning more. So A is not correct. And then its imports and exports are equals is not correct. We are saying when it is negative balance of trade, we should have imports being more than exports. So imports being more than exports, we shall see that imports are greater than exports. That is where we have got a negative balance of trade. Imports are greater than exports. It results in what? In negative. It results in negative balance of trade. It results in negative balance of trade, which is one thing that we should also be able to understand. Based on this diagram also, based on the diagram, you see exports, these are less, and then we have got what? We have got more, which is causing the imports to lift the exports. So we are saying imports should be more than exports. So therefore, that is when we talk about negative balance of trade. It is negative because a country is losing more than it is benefiting. So the answer is C. C is the right answer. And then the country that has the biggest trade surplus, the country that has the biggest trade surplus, the country that has the biggest trade surplus, when we look in this balance of trade in billions, we are given here that plus 400, plus 401 billion, plus 233, India minus 80, United Kingdom minus 121. So the one that has got the biggest, it is obviously, we can see that China, which is having plus 400, the biggest is plus 401.2, which is marked by what? By China. So our right answer is what? Is A. China has got the biggest trade surplus. They have made it. They are making more money there. Refers refer to the map and answer questions 1.2.1 and 1.2.3. So we are given this, what does SADC stands for? SADC stands for Southern Africa Development Community. Southern Africa Development Community, which is Southern Africa Development Community, which is actually given by letter C. Southern Africa Development Community is a block of countries which are in the Southern African region, which is defined by Southern Africa Development Community, which is SADC. That is the meaning of SADC, which is given by letter what? By letter C. It is not South African Development Community, it is Southern Africa Development Community, which is letter C. It is identified by, this is our African map, but we are looking on countries which are in the what? In the southern region. We are looking in countries which are in the southern region, and then we identify them as what? As SADC countries. A key economic benefit of SADC free trade agreement. What is a benefit, a key economic benefit to SADC's trade agreement? We are saying when you look at the Southern African Development Community's free trade agreement, how does it benefit the countries? It actually allows one common currency. We don't have common currency. Countries in Southern Africa, they use different currencies. We have got South African rands, we have got Botswana pula, we have got the Zimbabwean dollar, we have got Namibian dollar, we have got various countries. All these, they have got their own currency. Removing competition still exists because we still have countries competing in terms of various resources, and also competition in terms of trade, barriers to entry of business, barriers to entry of business. Therefore, it cannot be an economic advantage. So we are saying the right answer is what? Enhance access to international markets. South Africa is selling all over the Southern Africa community. The Southern African community, South Africa is selling all of them. So it has got a better market that it is established because of what? Because of SADC. So the right answer is D. A fair trade is a type of trading relationship based on the principle of dash. A fair trade is a type of trade relationship based on the principle of dash. Number 5, it is based on the principle of reducing environmental regulations. Is not regulations, it's not fair trade, environmental regulations. It has nothing to do with that. It actually transparency and accountability in the supply chain. The fair trade ensures that countries, we are saying there is honesty, there is accountability in the supply chain. Countries that are involved in when we talk about fair trade, transparency and accountability remains the key. When you look at these are also principles that are held up by the World Trade Organization, which actually ensures that there is fair trade, whereby countries should not be, they should be honesty, they should be accountable, they should always have transparency when it comes to what they are selling and what they are advertising. So transparency and accountability in the supply chain is actually the best answer that can answer in terms of the fair trade, in terms of relationship principle. And then financial assistance from the government to help local businesses compete against foreign imports. When government support local businesses, government support to local businesses in order for the local business to survive the international competition. This is actually a form of support which is called a subsidy. A subsidy is what is it's an amount of it is actually an amount of money. It's a form of support government channels to local businesses in order for them to be able to be well established. They give them some form of financial support, and then quotas. We are looking at minimum amount of goods that can be allowed to enter through the borders of a country. That is what we call by quotas. Tariffs are also trade regulations that also have to control what has to enter within a country and what. So all of these A, B, and D, they are to do with trade. They have to do with trade in terms of trade regulation, uh, controlling how trade is done. We trade it through embargoes, through trade tariffs, through quotas. The main difference between a tariff and import quota, the main difference between tariffs and import quotas. Number 7, the main difference between tariffs and import quotas and tariffs. So we are saying one, tariffs are taxes. Tariffs are taxes on imports. We are saying there are taxes on imports. When we look on tariffs, there are tariffs, is to say when goods are entering a country, there are certain charges which are put on them, which we call tariffs, and then import quotas limit quantity of imports. Import quotas limit quantity of import. It limit quantity of import. That is to say that one is tariffs are taxes on exports, not is not correct. Import quotas encourage more import, not correct. So the correct answer is what? It's 1 and 2. Import tariffs are taxes on imports, and then quotas limit the quantity of what has to be allowed to enter through the borders. So 1.2.7, it is A is the right answer. A is the right answer there. Empowering rural communities, investing in women, rural communities and rural women in particular bear the largest burden of poverty in South Africa. The main factors contributing to poverty of rural women include low literacy, skills training, and poor access to services, especially healthcare. Investing in women is imperative to development. Women often have different needs than men due to their societal standing, as well as continuing imbalance in the division of labor for managing or undertaking domestic tasks, such as taking care of raising children. The Cornelius Women and Youth in Rural Entrepreneurship, which is WYRE initiative, aims to strengthen KZN's rural and farming communities. Its goal is to build productive and sustainable family and community livelihoods. Through the program, women who are part of the community development program receive the following support. Women, they receive agricultural training, they receive access to financing, have financial and business management training, networking, linking women across Africa. And then the program is not only enhancing the skills and leadership qualities of its participants, but also playing a crucial role in the sustainable development of rural economies in KZN, fostering a new generation of entrepreneurial leaders in agriculture, which we say that women are going to be or are part of this. So the question which reads next is that what is community development? What is community development? What is community development? You can say development of for people, by the people. Community development is saying development is development. It is development for the people, for the people, by the people. people are leading development is development which is targeting people, and then the people who are involved are the ones who has to do, who are also benefiting from it. So it is development for the people. The people, as to say, communities are uplifted, and then it is upliftment of communities by people. The people within the areas where development is taking place are part of that. So as they are developing their community, they are also getting themselves empowered or developed. So we can say that it is also a team building approach where community members, organizations, and stakeholders work together to identify needs and implement the development strategies. So it is an engagement, it is an engagement that is taking place. You can say an engagement, it is an engagement amongst uh, amongst various stakeholders, amongst various stakeholders and communities in bringing development through the participation of individuals within their communities, through individuals, through individuals participation and involvement. So members of the community are involved in terms of development, and these people are the ones which are coming up with some changes in their community, and the development or the changes that they are bringing in are specifically uplifting their livelihoods. As we start, for example, we can say building infrastructure like schools, roads, and all those. So as the schools and roads and every other various infrastructures are being built, we are also doing it through the members of the people within those areas. So we can give an example of expanded work programs that are done by government, where people from specific regions where the development is taking place are involved, so that we can have a mutual, or we can have a double change in terms of the society. Why are women important to community development? Number next, why are women important? Why are women important to community development? You see, women are important to community development. Uh, we say one, to actually, it's actually the important is that they are primary caregivers and central. They play a central role in in community development. One, women are very important for community development because one, they are primary caregivers, or they play a central role in raising of children in communities. They are primary caregivers. They are primary caregivers. When we look at communities are controlled by mothers. Women are very important because they are the ones who are on the center of caregiving. And then we also have to say that they play a central role. We're saying they play a central They also play a central role in terms of child raising, central role in children upbringing, in the upbringing of children. Women, they play a central role. So they are very central. They are very important in community development because they are the ones who are involved or who are part of the future, which we are saying that is our future is our children. Our children are mentored and developed by mothers. So mothers are very important in terms of that. And also we can also talk about they actually have got to they also we are saying to promote inclusivity as they have been marginalized, to promote inclusivity or redress policies. They are important also in order to promote uh and address past imbalances. Also, we are saying they were once marginalized, so therefore they are very important in order for the government to promote and address past imbalances. So this has to do with corrections which were done, things which were done wrong previously. So it is very important to involve women because it is they can be able to they are able to we are able to redress problems that were or inequalities that were done before, and also in order to bring diverse perspective. They also, it is very important to involve women in order to bring diversity into perspective, as to have a diversity of people, to bring diverse into perspective, to bring diversity into perspective is very important also in order to have that we have got many representatives. People, also women must be part of it in order to bring diversity into perspective. Also, uh, it is very important also women make up most of the informal sector, so that if they are given opportunities, they are given a chance to enter into the formal sector in order to bring chances for them so that they can be able to enter also into the in the primary sector, and promote equality between genders for meaningful development. It is very important that women are also involved in order to promote equality between genders for meaningful development. So development, as it is also being pushed, meaningful development can be achieved by having women or to have gender equality. We can also need to understand that there is also unequal opportunities in education. So women must be also be involved in order to address unequal opportunities to education that has also been in existence. Last but not least is that we also have to, they are involved in various sectors in households, agriculture, and entrepreneurship in order for them to be part of that as well. We have talked about the various sectors which women were not in part, which were not part of. So it is quite important that these are also taken into consideration. And then, according to the extract, why do rural women bear largest burden of poverty? The largest burden of poverty. It is actually given in the context that we have got issues to do with the marginalization, and then issues to do with what you call, in terms of these cases, we have seen that cases of marginalization, we have got women in terms of there are also imbalances undertaking domestic tasks such as caregiving, raising of children. So the main factors contributing to poverty of rural women include low literacy, skills training, poor access to services, and also especially health care. So we are saying these are the reasons which are also contributing to the factors that we have seen here. According to the extract, why do rural women bear largest burden of poverty? We have seen that there is low literacy. It is because of low literacy. Lower literacy is one of the reasons. They are not able to read and write. It causes one of the reasons. It is one of the problems that women are suffering because of. And then we can talk about poor trading skills. It is given that they have got poor training skills. They have got poor training skills, which also disadvantage them. It keeps them also in the bracket of poverty. And then poor access to health care services is another reason, which is also mentioned in question. Poor access to health care, poor access to health care services. Poor access to healthcare services is also another problem which is causing them to remain in poverty. They don't have good access to health. So that can also be a factor limiting their access, I mean their chance to express themselves and also to get out of poverty. And then uh, we are given that the program initiative provides women with physical uh, uh, the initiative it provides women with dash is it physical or human capital. We are saying the initiative, if we can go through if we can go through the essay, we are given that the Kwanulus Women and Youth in Rural Entrepreneurship, which is given like this initiative aims to strengthen KZN's rural and farming community. Its goal is to build productive and sustainable family and community livelihoods. So who are part of the program receive the following support. So they are receiving all this support. So the question is saying, uh, it actually provides people with it provides initiatives it is with human capital. We are talking about the empowerment of women in terms of development. So it is human capital which is actually there to say that it targets to improve women as a gender through various initiatives or through various support forums that are put in place. So what we need to understand is that it actually provides women with human capital. The factors and every action that is given here, it is agricultural training, financial and business management training. We are saying these are all factors or measures that are put in place in terms of improving women as people. So what we are saying is that it's an initiative that is focusing on improving women as a gender. So it is improving women. So it's target to improve human capital. With human capital, the skills that they should have. Therefore, it's a human capital skill. Number B is how will agricultural training help alleviate poverty in rural communities? Agricultural training, how does it help to alleviate? We are saying to reduce or to get done or to do away with poverty in terms of training, agricultural training. How does it reduce How does it reduce? How does it correct problems to do with poverty? So one, we can talk about poverty is reduced through agricultural training. How? One, we can talk about it reduces crime. Crime is reduced when people are trained, they are able to be self-reliant. So one, it reduces crimes. People are able to live a life which is honesty, and therefore we can talk about crimes being reduced. Number two, we can also talk about transfer of skills. Transfer of skills helps people to work on their own, which can help them to be self-reliant. You understand? And then we also have we are saying people when they have skills, they are able to work and live on their own. We can talk about access to modern technology reduces poverty. Access to modern technology. These modern technologies are measures that will also that can also help people to increase. We can talk about the machinery. We can talk about the methods of production. We can talk about genetically modified seeds, and all these they are able to be accessed because of agricultural training. People are able to use them. Therefore, poverty is reduced because we've got high or bumper harvest. And then we can also talk about profits. People can earn more profits. More profits can be earned. More profits are earned. Therefore, when people earn more profits, they are able to what? They are able to live better. People are able to live better because of profits. We also talk about improvement in quality of life and livelihoods. Improvement in quality of life. Improvement in quality of life. It is also a way of reducing poverty. And then we can talk about increased employment opportunities. Increased employment opportunities. These will also employment opportunities will obviously reduce poverty. Improved employment opportunities will also help to reduce poverty. So all these are methods through which poverty can be reduced. We are saying poverty can be reduced. We have got also the issue of food security and access to food becomes better. Therefore, when people have got access to food, we have got reduction in poverty. We also have diversification of both crops and animals. As a result of training in agriculture, people are able to live and to grow and take care of various plants and animals, which can also help to reduce poverty. And then, last but not least, I can also maybe want to mention the issue of the other point to do with increase in the availability of nutritious and healthy food. Increase in availability of nutritious and healthy food can also be a measure that can transfer or that can reduce poverty in rural communities. Uh, Next question is saying, explain how the initiatives help to empower women to become entrepreneurial leaders in agriculture throughout the continent. We are given these points there that there are points that we are given which has to do with the empowerment of women, which I want us to understand that we have got to talk about issues to do with networking, which are mentioned here. We are given these points here, which are given, we are given all those points to say that there is networking, women in networking. We are given that access to financing, networking, agricultural training. All these are advantages or measures that are mentioned in this respect. So what we need to look at is that we have got access to finance helps the acquisition of inputs, and we can say access to financing, access to finance enables buying of agricultural inputs. It helps buying of agricultural inputs. We can talk, e.g., we can talk about seeds that are certified. We can also talk about machinery. We can talk about machinery. Machinery is also bought because of money. People have got money to buy them. Those modern farming equipment. We can also talk about the issue of trainings. The issue of training exposes women to innovative agricultural practice, which can also increase yields and reduce losses. Trainings, the trainings, the trainings can help to improve women. Trainings improves innovation. The trainings can also improve women in, we are saying the trainings also improve women innovation in agriculture. There is innovation in agriculture. We can talk about and which helps to increase yields, to increase yields and reduce losses, because of training. Women are able to improve agriculture and reduce losses. We can talk about we can also talk about knowledge of modern methods and tools enable increased production. Modern knowledge improves production. It improves production. We can talk about modern knowledge improves production, as to say people are able to do things better because of understanding of modern ways of doing business. We can also talk about trainings in financial management helps women to understand, they are able to understand business operations, which ensures that efficient use of resources is achieved. So financial bankings and financial management empowers them to do better. We also have to do with women in training. Trainings also help women to women can become better in identification and addressing agricultural challenges when they are trained. So all these are ways through which trainings can be able to help us. We talk about networking. Networkings can help women in order for them to assist each other across the globe, which is also quite a good advantage when it comes to that. And then business plans and marketing strategies can be better developed if women have been trained and they are also having financial literacy. So what we need to understand is that financial literacy enhances them in understanding and decision in understanding agricultural problems and also making proper decisions that are lifelong and transforming their lives. Lastly, I can talk about technical and business skills more makes them more competitive entrepreneurs. They become more competitive entrepreneurs because of being able to what? Because of technical and business skills that are being empowered on. So all these are good ways which we can talk about. And then even security and safety in workplace. Agriculture also involves working with many uh, possibly risk machines. So because of trainings, they are able to reduce accidents in workplace, which will, at the end of the day, improve what? Production. So we are given the sketch below on globalization. We are given a sketch on globalization that is given here. So state one factor evident in A that enables the sharing of knowledge. One factor in A that enables evident of sharing of knowledge. Uh, State one factor in A that can help uh, state one factor evident in A, one factor evident in A that enables sharing of knowledge. So what is that? If we look at A, when we look at A here, we are given we are given we are given actually we are given which makes sharing of knowledge. We are given the computer, or we are given digital technology. uh, we are saying the availability of telecommunication system, which is shown through the towers that are provisioned here. So sharing knowledge and innovation, consumer benefits, and whatsoever. So what we are saying is that sharing of information can be made possible through uh, telecommunication systems. We are saying one, availability of digital technology. Availability of digital technology is one of the important. Availability of digital technology can enable sharing of information. Digital technology can help in terms of enable sharing of knowledge. We can talk about telecommunication systems. Telecommunication systems can allow the sharing of information, which we can say that this can talk about the social media platforms. They can allow sharing of information. And then how we have modern transportation system promoted globalization. This we have talked about, saying the globalization, if you can look there, we see containers, we see ships there. We are looking at B. This has also been addressed when I've been talking about this during the course of the term. So how has it benefited increased trade? So what you need to understand is that we have got the benefit. how have the modern transportation system promoted globalization? So one, we are saying it increased access to markets. There was increased access to markets, increased access to markets, increased access. Markets can be accessed because of the boats. We are saying markets, businesses are able to go to markets across the world because of all these forms of transport systems that we have. And then we also need to talk about we talk about quicker or time. We have the issue of quicker transport system, rapid movement of goods across borders. Rapid movement of goods across borders is also another advantage that we can mention in that regarding. We have got large quantities can be transported. Larger quantities of goods can be transported through the ships. Large quantities of goods quantities can be transported. Large quantities of goods can be transported through the shipping. We also have we have got also enhanced efficiency in trade and also global labor mobility. We have got global labor mobility, labor mobility. It has also been facilitated because of the transport facilities that we have. It has been also made possible. Labor mobility has also been improved because of the transport systems that we have. And then why can consumers benefit from increased globalization? Why can consumers benefit from increased globalization of trade? Number three, increased globalization of trade. Why can consumers benefit from that? Why can consumers benefit? We can talk about greater price transparency, increased globalization trade. It enables greater price transparency, greater price transparency, greater price transparency can be achieved because we talk about the international through World Trade Organization monitoring, through initiatives. World Trade Organization enforces that price transparency must be there. We talk about transparency and honesty. Number two, another point that must be understood in this case, we talk about higher quality products, higher quality products, higher quality products. Higher quality products can also be achieved because of globalization. Countries are able to provide or gain goods which are produced from various countries which are of high quality. We can also talk about improved customer service because of efficiency in telecommunication, improved customers services. These are improved because of, we talk about the improvements that are put in place as a result of globalization. And then we also talk about access to latest goods and services. Customers have got access to latest goods and services everywhere in the world. Customers have access to latest goods, goods and services all over the world. Customers can be able to have access to every what call latest goods and services all over the world because of globalization. We also have maybe increased availability of specialized goods which are also of high quality. Increased availability increased availability increased availability of high quality specialized goods. Increased availability of high quality specialized goods that can also be made because of globalization, as you can see there. And then I want us to understand that uh, even seasonal, and we can have access to seasonal. Customers can also have access to seasonal and regional products all year round because of globalization. Seasonal and we talk about seasonal and regional products all year round are also able to be benefited by customers because of globalization. And then we are given this question, refer to the cartoon and extract of development aid Africa. We are given Africa aid, and then we are given corruption, dictators, theft, waste. All these crime graft are given here. And then the question is saying over the decades, billions of dollars have been channeled from wealthier nations to poorer ones in the hope of promoting economic growth, alleviating poverty, and enhancing people's quality of life. So, however, a complex and often disappointing reality emerges despite these efforts. Many developing countries continue to struggle with high levels of poverty. Despite receiving 36 billion annually in aid, sub-Saharan Africa remains the poorest region globally. One of the factors contributing to limited access to foreign aid is when it comes with conditions. Unfortunately, when all the conditions are considered, the aid may not be necessarily benefit the recipient population. Foreign aid undoubtedly plays a crucial role in addressing immediate humanitarian needs, supporting development initiatives, and in struggling community economies. However, the notion that aid alone can lift countries out of poverty is overly simplistic and often unrealistic. So this is what we are given with regards to the impact of foreign aid on development. So the question is saying, according to the extract, what is the process? What is the purpose? According to the extract, what is the purpose of? According to the extract, what is the purpose of foreign aid? Oh, excuse me. We just missed this first one. Let's just first answer. How to liberalization of trade encourage? How to liberalization of trade? How to liberalization? Explain how liberalization of trade are encouraged by globalization present challenges for local businesses. To say how do businesses suffer from globalization? How do businesses suffer from globalization? We are having reasons of challenges that how businesses suffer from globalization. One, we have got to look at foreign competitors have advantages. The foreign competitors have got advantages which making it difficult for local businesses to compete. There is extensive competition, extensive there is extensive competition from international or from multinational businesses or companies. There are problems that are there. We are saying competition is too much, so therefore extensive competition from multinational businesses or companies makes it difficult. It makes it difficult for local businesses. Makes it difficult for local businesses to survive. Local businesses, they suffer intense competition from international businesses. We also have problems to do with, we also have, there is also problems to do with significant cost of compliance increases, operating cost, compliance. Number two, compliance increases. Operational costs to local businesses. They increase local operational costs to local businesses, which is also a challenge. Compliances increases operational costs for businesses, which is also a challenge. We can also talk about when businesses, because of international, because of globalization, the issue of standards are becoming quite complex, which becomes challenges also to local businesses. There is also consumers, consumers, we have got problems to do with increased pressure for businesses to outsource production to countries with cheaper labor, impacting local employment. Increase in pressure for businesses. Increase in pressure for businesses. Increase in pressure for businesses to outsource production. Businesses to outsource production. Outsource production. Businesses, they also suffer from outsourcing production to countries with cheap labor. Countries with with cheap labor that affects local employment, affecting local employment. So local businesses, they also suffer, or people within the local country who suffer because of there is they also local suffer, affecting local employment. So there is unemployment that is also caused because of outsourcing of foreign goods, which can be also be cheaper, or which can also outsourcing of production from foreign countries that impacts on employment within the local country. And then we can also talk about price pressures forces local businesses to lower their prices to stay competitive with international competitors. Uh, price competition, price pressure results in local businesses making less profits. Local businesses, they may make less profits. Local businesses making small profits. They are making less profits because the businesses, the international market is too competitive that they cannot be able to remain to remain competitive if ever they don't reduce their prices. So international businesses, they tend to put pressure on local businesses that they can make small profits because them are producing at high cost but selling at lower profit at lower prices, which at the end of the day will finally affect their profit returns. So all those are problems that are impacting on on local businesses. Uh, what potential environmental problems are associated with increased globalization? Problems that are associated with increased globalization are one, these challenges quite many. We can say one, problems that are associated with increased globalization, results, environmental problems that are associated with globalization. One, we can talk about deforestation. Deforestation is one of the main problems. The cutting down of trees, deforestation, and habitat destruction. There are many problems that can also be found there. Habitat destruction becomes a problem because of globalization. When companies are becoming multinationals or they are becoming big, they also cause over such problems. We can talk about overexploitation of species, overexploitation of resources are resulting in extinction of some of those. Extinction of species. Some species can end up no longer in existence because of that. There are challenges that can also come because of that. We can also talk about spread of invasive species, spread of invasive spread of invasive species. These are species that are also exotic, which sometimes have got negative effects to the environment. They are also because of this globalization. We can talk about environmental degradation such as desertification and industrial pollution, which results in environmental degradation, industrial pollution, resulting in all forms of pollution. This has to do with land. You can talk about land, water, air pollution, because of spillages, because of noise, are also a problem that can also come as a result of increased globalization. There are also problems that can also come because of increased globalization. We can also have problems to do with higher levels of waste generation and decline in biodiversity. Decline in biodiversity, our species, they become less because of that. And then we also finally maybe want to talk about, maybe finally we can talk about increased, uh, uh, we can talk about extreme weather conditions such as climate change. Climate change, which is caused because of this. We talk about global warming. Global warming, as to say, temperatures they go up because of these conditions of what of exploitation of resources, of pollution. All of those are challenges that can also come into play. We can talk about problems to do with ecosystems and soil erosion, desertification. All these are various problems that we can mention that are caused because of what increasing globalization. There are quite a lot of them that we can mention in that regard. So we now go to this one. We have already read the question first. So according to the extract, what is the purpose of the aid? According to the extract, what is the purpose of the aid? This is actually targeting poverty alleviation, as it is given the foreign aid impact on development. It is channeled from wealthier nations in hope of promoting economic growth, alleviating poverty, and enhancing people's quality of life. These are the targets. Alleviating poverty. We talk about poverty alleviation. Reducing poverty is given there. We talk about economic. We also have promote economic growth. Promote economic growth. And then lastly, there is an idea to do with, lastly, we talk about enhancing the quality of lives of people, improving quality of lives of people, improving quality of lives of people. These are given. We are not, these answers are given in the essay here, like the one that I've underlined there. And then what factors indicated in the cartoon hindered success to foreign aid in Africa? We are saying what factors indicated in the cartoon hinder the success of foreign aid in Africa. These factors are given here. We are given these factors here that there is dictators. These factors are given: dictators, corruption, waste, and also theft are all these factors that are given. So the factors are given here. We are saying factors here, there is theft, there is corruption, people are stealing and are just not doing the honesty. We have got dictators. Dictators, people are just controlling the control that is extreme. They also affect this. We also have to talk about waste. And then finally, we talk about crime. When aids are given, all these factors are hindering the success of the aid. And then next question is saying, why do conditional aid not necessarily benefit the recipient country's population? Number 1.53, why do conditional aid not necessarily benefit the recipient country's population? We are given that that the people of the country do not benefit from the conditional aid. Why is that so? What causes that? One, it is because of one, a hidden agenda from the donor which may not be beneficial. Donors have got hidden agendas. Donors have hidden agendas that may not be beneficial. They've got donors have got the agendas that sometimes are not clean. Are not straightforward. Therefore, they cannot be beneficial to the conditional donation that has been given. Aid conditioned on specific outcomes may result in inequitable contribution. They maybe result in unexpected contribution. We can say one, long-term development goals and sustainable solutions can be neglected. Long-term, we have got long-term development goals. Long-term development goals. Long-term development goals and the long-term development goals and sustainable solutions. Sustainable solutions. The sustainable solutions, they can be neglected. Can be neglected. Therefore, we can have problems in achieving what? In benefiting from the donor. Number 3, you can also have problems to do with conditions imposed foreign practices conflicting with local cultural practices. Conditions imposed conditions that are imposed, they sometimes conflict with local cultural practices. They can conflict with local cultural practice. So therefore, what happens is that people cannot be able to benefit from that donor because of those conditions that are set on the donation. That can also be a problem. And then it can also, because of social tension, social and political tension can get things worse. Social and political tension may seriously destabilize specific intentions. Intentions cannot be met because of these social and political tensions that might also arise there. And then we can also have problems to do with the aid itself may not suit the needs of the recipient country. The aid may not suit the needs of the recipient country. Sometimes these aids are just given but are unverified. So what happens is that the aid may also not meet the needs of the recipient country. Hence, we can have they may not necessarily benefit the recipient country because the aid has not been well checked to see if it can meet or match the expectations of the recipient country. So in a paragraph of 8 lines, explain how technical aid can be beneficial in eradicating poverty. In a paragraph of 8, explain how technical aid can be beneficial in eradicating poverty. So in this case, what we need just is we want to list points that can explain how technical aid can benefit eradicating or reducing poverty. So one, we can talk about increased agricultural production contribute to food security, increased agricultural production, agricultural produce improves food security, can help to improve food security. One, it can be, we are saying technical aid can improve eradicating. So if agriculture production improves, we are able to reduce poverty by what? By food security. When people have got food security, it helps to eradicate poverty. We also need to understand that empowered communities are able to be self-reliant and more resilient. Empowered communities can become self-reliant. They become self-reliant and resilient. which is also another way that can also become beneficial in eradicating poverty. They become self-reliant and resilient. We can also talk about strengthened government and institutional capacity contributes to long-term development. Strengthened strengthened it is strengthened government and institutional capacity, strengthened government and institutional capacity, institutional capacity. What happens is that it contributes to long-term development. Institutional capacity strengthen, it actually contributes to long-term development. I'm sure that we can see institutional and government support contributes to institutional capacity contribute to long-term development. And then we can as well maybe want to identify that building local expertise and capabilities technically aid ensures solutions that are tailored to specific needs and context of community. That can also help more effective and relevant interventions are integrated, which also helps to sustain long-term solutions. We can also maybe need to look at encourage the adoption of best practices and innovative approaches, encouraging encouraging adoption encourage adoption of best practices. Best practices and innovative approaches. Innovative approaches. They can also work in terms of ensuring this technical aid in eradicating poverty. And then lastly, I would want to say that we can also talk about the last one, which I want to look at, which has to do with training and education equips people with the skills that enhance employability and productivity. So education and training can also be a better way of eradicating poverty because people are equipped with with uh, with necessary skills in order for them to be employable and increase productivity. So that can also be ways of eradicating poverty. So education and training is the last one that we can give. Education and training for employability. People are become employable and by better skills and better skills also can be achieved. So all these are ways through which we can say that we are able to eradicate poverty by education and training, by bettering the skills of the people, and all these, there are better answers that we can give. Let's just quickly sketch below shows a simplified version of thermal power production. Match the description with the information from the sketch right next to the question numbers. So we are given these questions here. We are given those questions. So what is happening is we need to match the description with the information on the sketch. So we are given key here, coal mines. These are coal mines that are indicated by these dots here. And we are given provinces. So South African province where the greatest contribution of coal, where the largest contribution of coal mines, where do we have the largest contribution of coal mines? You can see we are saying the largest contribution is seen in a province where we have got more of these coal mines here. The coal mines are shown by the dots. So we have got the largest in Mpumalanga. As you can see, there are quite a lot of them. If you can check here, there are 2 men versus every other place. Mpumalanga have got most of them. So it is what? It is Mpumalanga that is given here. I'm saying it is what? It is Mpumalanga. Mpumalanga is the one that has got the largest. Is one that is the largest. And then the next question, the processing of grinding coal into fine powder. The process of grinding coal into fine powder, that is called pulverization. It is called pulverization. That is the process of grinding coal into fine powder. Heat needed for producing the steam comes from the burning of which coal. We are saying the heat needed for producing the steam comes from the burning of which fuel. It comes from actually it is coal. It is coal that is used to produce heat that turns the turbines and so forth. In terms of producing the steam that comes from burning of which fuel, it comes from coal. And then the solid waste produced by the power station that accumulates at the bottom of the furnace. The solid waste, if you can see here, we are saying the solid waste that is found at the base, there it is. The core is the one that is used in heating and generating this system here, the boiler, but now the solid is the ash, which you can see there. It is the solid waste. It is the what? It is the ash, the ashes. And then the machine which turns mechanical energy into electrical energy, it is actually the machine that turns the mechanical energy into electrical energy. It is the generator electrical supply. We are seeing the turbines here, and then we have the generator. So what we are saying is the generator, it's actually the machine that is responsible for that. So it is the generator. It is the generator. And then what is handled and dispersed by the smokestack. Number 6, what is handled and dispersed by the smokestack? It is actually the gases are actually handled and dispersed by the smoke. Take is the gases, which we can say that it is actually the gases that are actually dispersed there, and then heat removed from the steam. Heat removed from the steam is dissipated through which component of the power plant. The heat, it is actually, if you look, the heat, the heat dispersed, it is dispersed through the cooling tower. The cooling tower, it's actually, we have got hot moist air here, which is coming. So the cooling tower, it is the cooling tower that is actually giving that. We are saying it is the heat, uh, it is dissipated through the what? Through the heating tower, the cooling tower. The cooling tower, and then to adjust the voltage for long distance travel to heat to what it is to what is generated electricity sent. Number 80, it is actually the transformer. The transformer, the transformer actually adjusts the voltage of long distance travel. The transformer, it is the transformer that actually ensures that the energy and the electricity, the transformer actually adjusts the voltage for long distance travel to what is generated electricity sent. It is the transformer. So this is also some bonus marks that you should just get. And then the image below shows different ways that electrical energy is obtained in South Africa. Make the descriptions with the appropriate sources, energy sources, right? Only the energy source next to the what? To the question numbers. So we are given these various energy sources, 2.2.1, 2.2.1 produces radioactive waste. Radioactive waste are produced from they are produced from nuclear, they are produced from nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is the one that produces radioactive waste. Nuclear energy. And then South Africa's primary source of electricity, it is actually thermal power station. I'm sure that we have seen the issue of the core thing. It is thermal power station. It is thermal energy. It is thermal energy. It is thermal energy. And then leading renewable energy source in South Africa, leading renewable source of energy, leading renewable energy source in South Africa, it is actually the solar energy. It is solar energy. It is the one that is renewable. I'm sure you have seen that countries are going, South Africa is going solar system. It's because it's renewable. It cannot be finished. The Karib Dam is the largest dash facility in South Africa. Is the largest hydroelectricity energy. Karib Dam, it is hydro energy that is produced there. It's hydro energy. Number 4 is the hydro energy. Hydro energy. And then obtained by splitting uranium atoms. Source of energy that is obtained by splitting uranium atoms. We have it is actually nuclear energy. It is nuclear. It is nuclear energy. and then requires photovoltaic installations. It actually requires photovoltaic installations. It requires solar, light installations. It is also the solar energy. The solar energy is the one that requires photovoltaic installations. The non-conventional energy source in South Africa, the non-conventional source of energy we are saying is not used, is not conventional, is non-conventional. It is also the solar energy. It is the solar energy, which is quite non-conventional when you look into South African energy systems. And then we are given before afforestation and after afforestation, before afforestation and after afforestation, and then we are given animals there, river, donker, and the question reads, the question is saying, what is soil erosion? Is the washing away of topsoil soil erosion? Washing away of top fertile soils. From arable land by agents of erosion. This can be, we are saying, by water, by wind, or by ice. We are saying that is erosion, washing away of topsoil from arable land by agents of erosion. We call that soil erosion. And then from the sketch above, provide evidence of soil erosion. The sketch, what provides the evidence of soil erosion provides it is, if you can look here, we are saying a donker is a very big gully that is formed because of erosion. A donker is actually a very deep kind of a gully or a stream that is formed as a result of erosion. So we are saying the donker it actually identifies erosion there. And then why does overgrazing by livestock contribute to soil erosion? It is actually because of overgrazing by livestock contributes to soil erosion. It results in removal of vegetation cover. That must protect the soil. That must protect the soil. The soil is not protected because vegetation is removed. Vegetation is removed. We can talk about we can also talk about issues to do with soil compacted reduces ability, soil compaction to soil is compacted, resulting in more runoff, resulting in more runoff water, that is soil erosion. And then we talk about tracks. Tracks formed by animals provides channels for runoff, provides small pathways for runoff to occur. So what happens is that removal of vegetation, animals, when they move, they create some tracks or some pathways, which are also resulting in what in passages that can be used by water when it flows. Soil compaction also, soil is hardened, so therefore no infiltration, and then runoff is promoted. Vegetation cover is removed, and then there is also less groundwater that is also facilitating. This groundwater also results in more soil erosion. 2.34 2.34. What are the negative economic effects of soil erosion? It lowers crop yields, it reduces crop yields. Crop yields are reduced because there is less fertility on the land. So erosion results in lower yields. It also results in reduced agricultural productivity, reduced agricultural productivity is reduced also. The land is becoming unproductive because of soil erosion. We also have loss of arable land. Arable land reduction in the sizes of arable land. Arable land, we are talking about land for agriculture. Arable land, we are talking about the land that is important for agriculture. Naturally is small, but now because of erosion, that land is becoming way smaller again. That becomes a disadvantage, also a limitation. And then we have got expensive to pay the restoration measures. It's expensive to restore the land, which the cost could have been used for other developmental purposes. Expensive to restore the land is another disadvantage. We also have increased insurance premiums. Land is insured, and then therefore it results in increased insurance premiums. Cost of insuring that land becomes very expensive, and then high infrastructure maintenance cost. High infrastructure maintenance costs are also other high infrastructure maintenance cost. In order for our infrastructure to remain usable, we are saying when erosion has affected the land, there are quite a lot of cost in order that also suffers the farmers. Infrastructure cannot be used properly. We talk about our machinery cannot be used effectively or easily on the land that has been affected by soil erosion because of those dunkers that we're talking about. We have also higher flood risks that also can cause less, that may also cause many costs, and then cost of water treatment because of sedimentation that can also result in other costs that we are related to agriculture. And lastly, we can talk about lastly, which is soil remediation increases costs, as in terms of fixing and buying the fertilizers, supplying artificial fertilizers, and all those are other related costs that we must also not overlook. How does the management strategies implemented at Z prevent soil erosion? The management strategy implemented at Z. Want to see the management strategy that is implemented at Z? The management strategy implemented at Z. How does the management strategy implemented at Z affects? Let's just see the photograph. The management strategy, which is it is the paddocking of animals. Animals are now paddocked. Animals are now controlled. So it actually, what we talk about is actually like paddocking of animals. How does it help in terms of, we are saying, how does it help in terms of how does the management strategy implemented that prevent soil erosion? So one, there is also issue to do with less exposed. We are saying vegetation protects soil from heavy rain. So what we are saying is paddocking of farm animals can help to protect the vegetation, can help to prevent overgrazing, can help to prevent overgrazing. So what is happening is we are talking about advantages of avoidance of overgrazing here. So we have got soil erosion. Soil erosion is minimized. Soil erosion is controlled. Soil erosion is controlled, or it can become less. And then when soil erosion is less because vegetation cover is there, we also have less runoff, more groundwater, due to high infiltration and less runoff. We also have got increased interception of raindrops splashing, improved interception of effects of raindrop splashing, hence reducing soil erosion. Soil erosion, the impact of erosion is reduced. Plant roots, vegetation roots helps to bind soils together, soil particles together, and reduce erosion. Soil fertility is maintained. And then if soil fertility is maintained, and hence more ground cover grows to protect the land. So all these are ways that through which erosion can be reduced here, because whenever animals are regulated, we are saying there is also no overgrazing. Animal movement is regulated, so the vegetation is given time to recover. The recovered time of vegetation is enough that it cannot be destroyed. And then we are given here that conventional energy sources in South Africa, nuclear energy percentages, coal and all others are given here. And then nuclear energy has been significant in South Africa's energy landscape for the decades, with the country's first and only nuclear power plant constructed in 1976 in Drensfontein near Cape Town. Koosberg, owned and operated by Eskom, has 2 reactors with combined capacity 1,869 milliwatts. And then South Africa's focus on nuclear energy is ever increasing as the global drive towards mitigating climate change and South Africa's goal of achieving net zero emissions becomes more pressing. However, despite the potential of nuclear production to help with the country's energy supply and meet climate goals, nuclear energy provides only 4.9% of electricity supplied to the grid today. South Africa, there is a historical dependence on coal due to its abundance and economic importance of the mining industry. So the question first is saying, according to the graph, what percentage of South Africa's energy is nuclear generated? What percentage is South Africa's nuclear generated? It is given that nuclear is given that it is nuclear energy. It is given that is 4.9%, which is given here. It is given there that nuclear is 4.9%. So it is 4.9%. It's given there on the graph. How does South Africa's uranium production support the proposal for 2 nuclear reactors? How does it support that? We are saying 1, by having a domestic source of uranium, South Africa ensures a stable supply for future projects. A stable supply ensures stable supply in the stable supply. It actually ensures it ensures survival of future projects. We can also talk about cost effective as is cost effective as uranium is produced locally and is not imported, as uranium is locally produced. Uranium is locally produced, so it supports the two nuclear reactors because it is cost effective, because it is locally produced. And then we can say that is able to support its own nuclear energy infrastructure, which relies on uranium fuel to generate electricity. South Africa is able to support its own nuclear energy energy infrastructure, which relies energy infrastructure which relies on uranium fuel. So it is able to support its own nuclear energy infrastructure, which relies on uranium fuel in order to produce or to generate electricity. Next question is saying, why is nuclear power production an option for the country to achieve zero emissions? Why is nuclear power production an option for the country to achieve zero emission? One, it lowers greenhouse gas emissions. It lowers greenhouse gases emissions. The amount of greenhouse gases produced is reduced. Greenhouse gases emissions, it decreases. And then we can also talk about minimal land footprint. It results in minimal land footprint. Minimal land footprints. We also talk about a small amount of uranium produces large amount of energy. Small amount of uranium produces large amount of energy. And then lastly, I can also say that it also reduced the fuel for mining and transportation. Reduced fuel for mining and transportation. So we are saying we can achieve zero net achievement. We can achieve net zero emissions because greenhouse gases emissions is reduced, and then land footprints, as in terms of the destruction of land, is also reduced, which is also a good advantage in terms of vegetation conservation. Small amount of uranium can produce large amount of energy and then reduce the fuel for mining and transportation. Question 2.44. Question 2.44. 8 lines approximate explain why South Africa favors coal as its main source of energy despite the advantages associated with the nuclear energy. Why should South Africa favor coal? Why should South Africa favor coal? There are quite a lot of advantages that are there. One, there is coal reserves that are main in. There is abundance. Abundant coal reserves makes coal readily available. We have got abundant coal reserves in South Africa. There is abundant coal reserves in South Africa. And then we are talking about existing infrastructure for coal mining, transportation, and power generation is already established. Necessary infrastructure for coal mining, transportation, for coal mining, transportation, and power generation. Power generation is already established. We have got the capacity already to use coal mining. And then the cost of coal extraction and processing in South Africa is relatively low. The cost of coal extraction, cost of coal extraction and processing is relatively cheap in South Africa. And then we can also talk about transition to other energy sources would require substantial investment. Transforming to new energy resources may become very expensive. Transforming to new energy resources may become very expensive than depending on the core system that is already established. And then a large amount of money have been invested in coal mining and power stations. Large amount of money have already been invested in coal mining and processing. So the country cannot start to reinvest on other things because this is quite expensive already. We have already made coal mining a major investment in South Africa. These are some of the advantages that are there that we can put in place in regard to that. And then we are given the cost of non-conventional energy in South Africa, which is the cost of non-conventional energy in South Africa at a critical moment, trying to decarbonize its economy and make sure that everyone has access to reliable energy resources. So now, what is conventional energy? What is non-conventional energy? Define non-conventional energy. We are talking about sources of energy that are not widely used. Sources of energy that are not widely used is non-conventional energy. Sources of energy that are not widely used. And then according to the graph, what percentage of global carbon dioxide from fossil does South Africa contribute? South Africa, it contributes, we are saying that is, South Africa, it contributes, this is given here, 1.7%. It's 1.7%. This is, we are saying you just look for it on the graph, is given that it contributes 1.7%, and then I give the evidence from the extract that shows that South Africa's energy shift is influenced by a social factor. It makes you make sure that everyone has access to reliable and affordable energy. Making sure that everyone has access to reliable and affordable energy. Everyone has access to reliable and affordable energy. The issue of everyone shows that the South Africa is a social issue, making sure that everyone has access. Environmental factor. In terms of environmental factor, the decarbonization of the economy. Decarbonizing the economy, reducing the amount of carbon gases, the amount of carbon emission, reducing the amount of carbon emission. It actually shows that they need to decarbonize, and then reduce the amount of greenhouse gases reducing amount of greenhouse emissions, reducing the amount of greenhouse emissions is also part of that. And then what makes wind and solar energy sources unreliable? 2.4. What makes solar and solar and wind energy unreliable? What makes them unreliable? 1, irregular depending on weather conditions, very dependent on weather condition. So they are very irregular. Not readily available anyway, because when weather is not okay, we cannot have them. Dependent on weather conditions, it makes them very unreliable also. And then they also need complex storage technologies. They require complicated technological investment. They require complex technological investment, which is also difficult. And then lastly, explain the negative effect of South Africa's economy as it implements non-conventional energy resources. 2.55, 2.5.5. This can be 1, financial constraints to invest in energy storage technologies. It's very expensive to invest on it. We can talk about cost of repaying loans. Is too high. When they take loans, it can be expensive to pay back the loans. Ongoing maintenance and updates to keep up with advancement and ensure efficiency is expensive. Ongoing maintenance costs of standards is quite expensive. It's quite expensive in order for us to make sure that the country or the non-conventional energy are working. It's very expensive. And then there is also the shift from traditional sources may cause job losses. People may lose jobs, may also be very expensive to acquire new infrastructure. So you can see the answers, you can think them along those lines. All these are possible basic answers that you can give with reference to this. So thank you very much, class, and have a beautiful stay. Keep up connected until we meet again. Just keep following. Thank you very much.